and welcome to SVGTV News for Wednesday, January 4, 2017. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The region today paid farewell to the longest-serving governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Vincentian-born Sir Dwight Venna, who passed away on December 22, 2016. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who was among the speakers at the funeral service held in St. Lucia, spoke passionately on the friendship he shared with Sir Dwight, a stalwart to the entire Caribbean region. Nolisha Miller has more on the funeral service in this report.
Funeral service held in St. Lucia today, January 4, 2016, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves spoke admirably on the countless accomplishments made by the late Sir Dwight Venna, who passed away on December 22nd. Dr. Gonsalves said he is honored to have known Sir Venna, who he considers a selfless individual.
Dwight was a Caribbean man to the core. He was nationalist and anti-imperialist. He knew instinctively that we were not better than anyone, but nobody anywhere was better than us. I have been continuously for the last 16 years a member of the Monetary Council, so I've seen my comrades work close up.
The Prime Minister further highlighted the unique bond he shared with the regional stalwart, explaining that they were once high school and university colleagues who later became professional counterparts.
In July 1976, Dwight was at my abode at Mona when I was packing to leave for a fresh appointment at Cave Hill. I had a beautiful antique mahogany dining table. I gave it to him as a mark of my love for him, our friendship and solidarity. Lady Linda, he told me that he was still using it in the family dining room. It's still there? It's still there? You see how it is? In recompense, he sent me books on an ongoing basis over the years for my further education and edification.
Also bidding farewell to the longest-serving ECCB governor was St. Lucia Prime Minister Alan Chastanet, who reflected on the last conversation he shared with Sir Venna, which he stated was on the very day he passed.
He spoke to me passionately about the banking fraternity and what we had to do to keep our indigenous banks alive. All the time, cringing in pain. On behalf of the government and the people of St. Lucia, we are so grateful to you and your family, and we will miss you.
And the daughter of Sir Venna, Amar Venna, spoke passionately on how family-oriented her father was, despite having a busy work schedule.
We used to joke among ourselves that the only person who liked chatting on the phone more was to see Venna. Whenever he was away, Daddy called home every single day. In the few instances he didn't, we knew it was because he couldn't, and then we worried how on earth he was going to cope. In the same way he was there for us at home, he supported his Caribbean family from beginning to end. One of the lessons we learned growing up was how to share. When it came to Daddy and his work, we had no choice, but it never even crossed our minds to complain because we understood that what he was doing was too important. We could tell because of how passionate, dedicated, and determined he was, and of how tirelessly he worked.
Sir Venna served for several years as St. Lucia's Director of Finance and Planning, before that as lecturer in economics at the Jamaica-based Mona campus of the University of the West Indies. As the ECCB governor, he was based at the St. Kitts and Nevis headquarters. He was awarded Knight Command of Service to the financial sector, which was recommended by the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He also received the St. Lucia Cross for distinguished and outstanding service of national importance to that island. Nolisha Miller, The Evening News.
And in other news, leader of the opposition, Dr. Godwin Friday, is of the view that the government should not be paying for any charter flights to the Argyle International Airport on opening day. The opposition leader told SVGTV News on Tuesday that the Argyle International Airport should be a viable infrastructural project and questioned the benefits of paying for charter flights to land at the airport.
Well, how can you charter a flight and the government is paying for it? A charter flight means that each passenger pays their flight, that's their fare. Isn't that how it works? I don't see that taxpayers should be paying money to demonstrate that a plane can land in an airport that was intended to accommodate those planes to begin with. We had back in December, a Liat flight was brought in here on the 6th of December on the eve of election, and then nothing happened thereafter. Is this going to be the same thing? I hope not. And the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines should not be paying to charter a flight to bring home here. Is that how you're going to do it in the future? Is that what the airport is intended to do? It's not to show that the plane can land. You know? It's supposed to be running as a viable infrastructural project that will bring benefit to the country. If we have to pay to bring the planes here, or to bring that plane here, how is that contributing to our benefit? I hope that is a wrong statement.
Reiterating that although there has been numerous challenges, the reality of the Argyle International Airport is soon at hand. Chief Executive Officer of the SVG Tourism Authority, Glenn Beach, while speaking on a local radio program earlier today, said the soon-to-be-open airport is still awaiting final certification from the International Air Transport Association, the IATA, slated to begin operation on February 14, 2017, Valentine's Day. The AIA, according to Beach, has already received a green light from the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, but has to go through IATA to gain international certification. He said the process has to be completed as the E.T. Joshua Airport will cease operation as of February 14, 2017.
It's in the process of being done.
And what if everything is not checked out by the 14th?
ECA and so on have already come in. They've approved everything. It's just to go through the...
So why did you say they're in the system?
It's in the system because even though ECA has approved everything, you still have to go to IATA, which is the international board, which goes through, which is ECA's... ECA represents IATA in the Caribbean. So everything is there. So for it to get on the system, the international system, because one of the problems right now is that once you open on the 14th thing, this is not that you're keeping E.T. Joshua. E.T. Joshua fails to exist on the 14th. So the code, the SVD code, transfers to Argyle. So that's a bit more difficult than just opening a new airport. So everything is a go though.
But will you,
the nice thing about
will you agree with me?
Argyle.
Hold on, Steve. Will you agree with me that there's no guarantee that ECA is going to give full approval?
No.
Correct. Thank you.
I wouldn't agree with you.
The SVGTA CEO reassured persons that the government is only paying the chartered fees for the flight scheduled to land at the AIA on opening day.
No, we're paying for the charter. Right. People who come in on the flight have to pay for their ticket.
So you're paying the upfront money and you recoup that from the sales of the tickets. Yes. Okay. How much is this going to cost?
No, that's what I said. We're working all of that out. Because one of the things that we have to do, cost is not as simple as them charging us and we saying, okay, let's divide it by 170 people.
Right.
Take, for example, and this comes as a shock. If we don't sell the return tickets, it is $15,000 less for the charter. The reason for that is
that doesn't make sense.
Yes, it does. You don't have the weight. You don't have the fuel. So you're traveling back a lot lighter.
In a quest to achieve all 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, as outlined by the United Nations, UN member states across the world have been given the mandate to establish geographic spaces within their country where they will focus on achieving specific development goals. Right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the constituency of South Central Windward has been selected as a focal point for the implementation of the Millennium Sustainable Development Community Project. Speaking at the launch of the project last evening, Area Representative and Minister of Rural Transformation, Saboto Caesar, expressed his elation at having his constituency selected to develop a model for achieving the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. He outlined that over the next 90 days, residents of South Central Windward will be involved in a series of consultations aimed at getting everyone on board with what the project is aiming to achieve.
Long-term objective is that South Central Windward will become a permanent footprint in the world, a geographical space whereby anyone can come to this constituency and see the results of these 17 very important and critical developmental goals. In order for us to achieve the goals, first, we must know what the goals are. And we are going to visit the preschools, the primary schools, the churches, all the NGOs in the constituency, and all of the community-based organizations. I see with us this afternoon several members of different community and village groups, and you are going to work with the process as we all work hand in hand to give a greater appreciation of these goals.
CISA said an assessment will be done as part of the implementation process of the project, where special focus will be placed on specific goals, as all 17 goals will not be approached at once.
By several technicians who will be assigned as to what is the status of each goal in the constituency. And the 4 first goals which will be approached are these. 1, climate change, coming under the goal of climate action. 2, good health and well-being. 3, zero hunger. And 4, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. We are going to work over the next 90 days as well to source technical advice from international organizations and groups to assist us in our study as we work to reduce rural poverty and to engage in an increase in production and productivity.
Minister CISA further called on residents to give their full cooperation as they work towards the successful implementation of the project, noting that it is an initiative which can change the face of South Central Windward.
It is our hope that when this project is properly implemented, that it forms a model not only for the members of the constituency, but for other citizens throughout the length and breadth of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and that technicians in the region, in the sub-region, in the OECS and in CARICOM, and my brothers and sisters at the Pan-African Parliament in Johannesburg, South Africa, that one day I would be able to return to them to do a presentation of a model that was implemented here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which brought significant benefit to the people.
Seen as a multifaceted development issue, climate change continues to plague nations across the world, especially small island developing states. With this in mind, promoting access to clean energy services in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, PACES, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, launched a 3-day renewable energy workshop earlier today at the Foreign Affairs Conference Room. The workshop, which specifically targets primary school educators, intends to equip participants with methods and techniques to effectively transfer knowledge on renewable energy topics to students, noting that creating public awareness for climate change and renewable energy is a challenge. Director of Energy Ellsworth Dakin highlighted the importance of involving the nation's youth in the sensitization process.
Learn a lot from children, and when I was in school, I was taught that energy is the ability to do work, and that was I think it ended there. I don't recall, and I hope that my primary school teachers don't not angry for my absent memory, but I don't recall ever being taught about renewable energy in primary school. I don't know what is the school curriculum right now, but I think it is important that we impart that knowledge onto children and educate them. I think that's why we chose this workshop for the teachers, so we can start with the youths.
They can outline some of the topics to be discussed during the next 3 days.
Is to educate you on the basic energy sources, give you some background on energy and electricity. When we speak of energy, it's not just electricity. I know people are always concerned about electricity. We also will educate you on how you can be more energy efficient within the home, and how we speak about energy throughout the Caribbean. We also try to tie within the workshop generation as opposed to renewable versus fossil fuel. And very importantly, we will share the impacts on the environment, because it's very important now with all the disasters and so on, how is energy related to the climate change? I think it is very important that we tie these together, and I hope that at the end of this week that we will be able to have a full understanding and appreciation for the energy and for the climate change.
Pointing out that energy is seen as one of the most important and fundamental concepts in science. A science education officer, Amala Mohammed, outlined the importance of persons realizing the great need for different types of renewable energy in society. She further urged the participants to utilize what they will learn over the next 3 days in their classrooms and in their communities.
You'd hear a number of persons say things like, St. Vincent has a lot of sunlight. So why is it that everybody in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not utilizing solar energy? Or we have a lot of wind. So why is it everybody we're not utilizing wind energy and so forth? We now have our geothermal project coming on stream. Has already started. And we look forward to that project, the completion of that project. It is important that we understand. It's important that our children understand, because we have to remember that the grade 5s that you are teaching now are the future decision makers. I would like to thank the Energy Unit for organizing this workshop. I know from having discussions with them that a lot of money and energy went into organizing it. And therefore I urge you teachers, please make use of it. Ask many questions.
The preliminary inquiry into the death of real estate agent Charlene Graves began earlier today in the Serious Offences Court. The accused, Veron Primus, chose to represent himself, was able to question witnesses presented by the prosecution team. Sharon Garway was in court today and tells us more in this report.
The assumingly easygoing Veron Primus of Vermont came before the Serious Offences Court earlier today, January 4th, 2017, for the start of the preliminary inquiry into the death of real estate agent Charlene Graves, of which he is the prime suspect. Before the evidence was presented in court, Primus explained that he is still experiencing challenges with having a shower, although it is not as bad as before. He also stated that he had some documents missing from his report and insinuated that his diet was being laced with foreign materials. He also told the court that he had a medical issue which needed attendance, but was reluctant to go to the hospital, as he believed that he would not get fair medical treatment. With Magistrate Rayshawn Brown presiding, she said that she would do all in her power to ensure that Primus receives humane treatment while incarcerated, and that it was his right. As the proceeding continued, the court heard that on the night of November 12, 2015, around 11:30 p.m., Graves called the Central Police Station in a hushed tone of voice, alerting PC 217 Jefferson Isaacs that someone had broken into her business, Bijou Real Estate, located at Arnisvale. The officer at the Central Police Station who received the call said she spoke for 10 seconds, and then Graves erupted in horrific screams before the call ended abruptly. In a heated moment in the court, the accused Primus attempted to question the prosecutor Adolphus Delplesh as to why he was asking the officer questions and insinuated that he was leading him on. This did not go down well with the seasoned prosecutor, who explained in a stern voice that he was not leading on the officer with his line of questioning, but that he was instead, quote, given an examination in chief, unquote, which would lead to the excerpt of which was necessary for the case. Primus then accused Prosecutor Delplesh of being boisterous, and Delplesh firmly hit back and said that he was not boisterous, but that he was instead being robust. Magistrate Brown had to also corroborate this legal terminology to Primus, who insisted that he will defend himself after his last lawyer was no longer representing him. He explained that he sought a lawyer that he was comfortable with, but that they seemingly was inexperienced, and he was now in contact with a lawyer from the UK. The second witness to take the stand was an employee at the Bijou Real Estate Agency who served as a secretary. She told the court that she introduced Graves and Primus to each other, admitting that she only had known him for about 4 months. She recounted that Primus said he worked in special services in the U.S. Army and thought he would be a good candidate for a job at the office, as Graves was about to travel for a few days. The witness also noted that Graves asked if there was anyone she could hang out with at the office while in her absence, and she suggested Primus. As the questioning continued, there were moments when Magistrate Brown had to remind Primus that he was seemingly going off on a tangent as he asked questions about the color of clothing, about how much money the witness made, among other issues. The magistrate had to remind the accused that he should stick to a line of questioning that dealt with the death of the real estate agent. Prosecutor Delplesh also brought out matters pertaining to a remote key for the Suzuki Escudo, which Graves owned. The witness said she was able to identify the device, which was in police custody and was somewhat tied to Primus. The hearing, which wrapped up just after 2 p.m. today, will continue tomorrow, Thursday, 5th of January 2017, at the Serious Offences Court, where other witnesses, including Graves' mother, is also expected to testify. Sharon Garway, reporting for SVG Television News.
Thank you, Sharon. Meanwhile, a family member of the late Charlene Graves, who was in court today, said he was pleased that the matter is being dealt with, noting that the family only wants justice to be served.
I'm here to support her mom in the death of her daughter. What I have to say is that Desperan Primus is accused of killing my cousin. Now the evidence will determine the conclusion of this case. Now we want justice for Charlene, and I'm here to support her mom, as I said. Hopefully we'll get some justice soon, and it won't be prolonged and prolonged and prolonged like he reading it out as I see in the courts today.
In other news, the People's Republic of China on Taiwan continues to assist with the educational development of Ascension students. Earlier today, 2 desktop computers were handed over to the UWI Open Campus. The Taiwanese ambassador to SVG, Bershan Zhao, says education is of great importance and expressed confidence that the donation would go a long way in assisting students of the Open Campus.
16, 17 students in Taiwan for higher education, and we are very happy that now in Taiwan we have over 60 students from St. Vincent and Grenadines for college degrees or higher. And apart from that, we also provide scholarships to the students from primary, secondary, and community colleges with financial difficulty challenges. But we still find that we should do more to the students here in this country, because education is very important. And through these computers, we do hope that people in this country can come to the campus to better utilize the resources provided by the campus. So that's why we are very happy that we can have this cooperation with the campus, and we can expect that we can do more in the future. So, very good. Thank you very much.
Also speaking at the ceremony was Patricia Batiste, librarian at the UWI Open Campus, who expressed gratitude for the donation, which she says will boost the capacity of the campus library.
Also, we have had students with problems with their own computers. The battery is not working. Something is not going well for them, and they need to do research, they need to do their studies because exams are coming up, and we couldn't fulfill that need because, well, not from the library's point of view. We had a lab that they can go there, but persons want, when they sit down to study in the library, sometimes they have questions, resources they don't know about. I am able to tell them, well, okay, the resource is here, it is there, but now with a computer I can allow them to go and access that resource online. So this is a wonderful gift. It would improve, it would help our students, it would improve our library, it would make us more tech savvy, which we were not before. So I want to say it again to Ambassador Gore, to your embassy and your country, thank you so very much.